Dr. Robin Smith from the Dr. Robin Smith Show and other things. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Karen. It's always good to be here with you, and also hard because we gather in ways that are really painful when young children and Black people shopping, grocery shopping in a supermarket that it took them years to get fresh food in their area in Buffalo, and then to be gunned down because they were Black. And then, here we are less than 2 weeks later, babies, who are in elementary school and who just got their awards and had their little ceremonies that they were so excited to see their name in print. And now their names are in print around the world, but not for, the accolades they were so excited about yesterday, but because they're gone. And so I am, not only is my heart heavy about this, I feel when I hear people talk about prayer, we need to pray. And I think, how often do we use prayer as an excuse to not work? How often do we say we're going to pray about something when actually we need to you talked about, pick up our mats. So it's so much easier to say, I'm going to be praying about what? And so I really feel that in this moment, my contribution is to remind everyone, but certainly those who are people of prayer, that prayer is not, it's not the excuse to not do work. So maybe what we need to be praying about is that we have courage to get up and do what needs to be done. Not God doesn't need to do something. We need to do something about what is happening, that an 18-year-old, because he's also a child. An 18-year-old on his birthday, he's dead too now, but who got 2 assault rifles. Something happened to him. And so what I feel is that, when we have a chicken stew and we wonder why the stew is chicken and not beef, well, we've got to look at what we put in, and you can't get something out that you didn't put in. I don't know about you, but I'd love to go to the ATM machine and tap Mac, if you will, and be able to withdraw $100. But the way this works is if I want $100 out, I've got to put $100 in. And so America is looking at the reality that what we put in simply is insufficient to withdraw peace and reconciliation and love. You can't reconcile anything without owning what is broken and your contribution to the break.
All right, we're done. The show is over. Thank you, Dr. Robin, for it's like there's nothing. All right, thank you. Let's go home. You said everything. I don't even know how anybody can add anything to that. I think there's a King speech where he talks about the insufficient funds of America, and this was just as powerful because you don't get this. I have not said his name. I will not say his name. This entity without this entity having something to feed on or having been fed something to produce what it did, which is shooting his grandmother in the face and then going and killing 19 babies.
Yes.
And 2 teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing. When I remember years ago when I was in private practice and people would want to bring their kids to me and say, my daughter is acting out, my son is, and I understood that. But I also understood that child was part of a system. It's not to blame parents, but it is to say that what we put in is the only thing we can get out. I mean, that's chemistry. That just is what it is, what it is. And so I really, when I think about this country, I don't understand why we don't understand what we are withdrawing. I mean, how could we? And people are talking about video games, and I'm not saying that some of those things don't have an impact, but that is not the cause. A video game is not the cause of this violence. The cause of the violence is the toxicity of hate, racism, sexism that we don't want to own is in the fabric and fiber of this country. It's in the bowels of our nation. And so, you know, like when the stuff hits the fan, well, you can turn the fan off, you can get away from where the fan is blowing that, you know, feces. But the truth of the matter is, it is going to come out as what it is, which is toxic hate. And so I feel like this confusion, that's why I said prayer. I mean, I'm a proponent of prayer, but prayer that requires me to do my job. Not prayer that says, God, you fix it. No. My prayer is that I have the courage to do what is required of me, to vote. And this is for our senators. I mean, everybody should be voted out who cannot stand for what is going I don't care what color and what party and what side of the aisle. We should sweep the Senate clean of anyone who cannot reasonably understand that something is broken and they are a part of it.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and the least they can do, and again, voting is step 3 of a 10-step plan. Voting is not the end all be all, but it is part of the strategy and the tools and the weapons that we have as people, the citizens of this country, to make a different life or different choice for ourselves. There's this person on Twitter said, how about we treat every young man who wants to buy a gun like every woman who wants to get an abortion? Mandatory 48-hour waiting period, parental permission, a note from his doctor proving he understands what he's about to do, a video he has to watch about the effects of gun violence, and an ultrasound wand up his ass just because. Let's close down all but one gun shop in every state and make him travel hundreds of miles, take time off work, stay overnight in a strange town to get a gun, make him walk through a gauntlet of people holding photos of loved ones who were shot to death, people who call him a murderer and beg him not to buy a gun. It makes more sense to do this with young men and guns than with women and healthcare, right? I mean, no woman getting an abortion has killed a room full of people in seconds, right? This is from Nev Schulman. Thank you. That's a brilliant tweet.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Thank you for posting that. But yeah, I mean, this is where we are right now. We can't even get people to vote, to have background checks. I don't know. Shouldn't we know the people who have weapons that can take out 19 babies at one time?
Yeah.
And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just tweeted at Ted Cruz, who was doing his thoughts and prayers. She said, aren't you about to speak at a gig for the NRA? Faith without works is dead.
Oh, come on through scripture. 866-801-8255. Dr. Robin is in the house. I think we should start doing like an Ask Dr. Robin segment. I'm going to talk to you about this off mic, because I think people need to ask you questions and you got answers. Paula in Dallas had a question before you came here, but you said something about this person being a boy or a child. I called him a boy too. Paula has a problem with that in Texas. That's fine. Talk to us, Paula in Dallas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking my call, Karen.
Welcome.
I am a first-time caller, but I am a 4-year listener.
Welcome. Thank you.
I've been listening for 4 years to my brother, Joe Madison, and I had to call today. And I want to first address the voting. And I took notes, and bear with me, they're short notes, but I had to because so much is flooding my spirit. I'm like Dr. Smith, this is just almost too much to bear in one tablespoon, not even a teaspoon. It's just too much to bear in a tablespoon. But to my point, the African American, the Asian American, and the Latino American vote has never in my 60 years of living been as critical and as pivotal as it is in our current time. Our vote is our voice. Our voice, as frail as it is individually, can count for something collectively. Even in our frail democratic system that is constantly under attack, it seems, especially in the last 6 years. And not even withstanding the somewhat arguable point that it seems useless to be bothered with voting, or nothing ever changes. Well, to both of those possible comments, I say, nevertheless, it is our duty, especially as African Americans in this country, and for me, especially as an African American female, mother, aunt, sister, and friend, to always exercise our blood-stained past.
You know, Paula, I'll tell you, it's Paula, is that right?
Yes.
You know, I'll tell you something. Really, what you are saying is you are reminding us to report for active duty right here, right now, and not use any excuse, not our bloodstained path, not the ways in which we have been injured, but to take this moment, to use this moment, to use our vote and our voice to elevate what is possible. And I think that your call reminds us of that. So as a first-time caller, even though I'm just visiting the Karen Hunter show today, I am so grateful that you showed up and reminded all of us to report for active duty. Isn't that right, Karen?
See, Dr. Robbins trying to call me to my better self because she sees me, knows me. Yes, thank you for your first time call. I was gonna say this, people should write their thoughts down more often, but when she got to furthermore, nevertheless, I was like, I don't know. But Dr. Robin, you're that's why you are a pastor too. He ain't through with me yet. I got this work to be done. I got thoughts. So I'm trying to keep them to myself because I want to be, because you're here. I'm going to be.
Well, I mean, just to say this, you know who my guest is this Sunday.
Oh, who's your guest this Sunday
Karen
on your
Hunter.
show?
Karen
what?
Hunter.
That's happening this Sunday?
Oh, wow. It is. Karen Hunter is my guest on the Dr. Robbins show. And it is such a powerful, I know you didn't ask me all this right now, but it is such a powerful conversation, Karen. Your fire, your transparency, your heart, really, I am so sure it will speak to people and encourage them to keep it real, and to find actually what their own path is in spite of hardship and betrayals. And I mean, you shared some things that are, I just think, going to help people in a very significant way this Sunday. So people have to tune in this Sunday to the Dr. Robbins show to hear Karen Hunter on the other side of the mic.
Yeah, I forgot we were like interviewing. I was just talking to you.
Yeah,
and then I was like, wait, I got Dr. Robin. I have a chance for therapy. Let me let me vomit all of the things that I'm feeling right now so she can help me work through it so I cannot carry this burden with me. So I thank you for the therapy session that y'all are going to end up listening to, because that's what it ended up being. So I thank you
powerful.
for that. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, to be here every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, and to have to suss through this, it feels like barbed wire of emotions and trauma and just sometimes hopelessness, because you don't you want to fix everything, and it seems like there's a simple answer. Like, let's, the candidate, Dr. Chris Jones, who's running for governor in Arkansas, it's like, love, the Bible, 2 commandments, love God and love each other. Seems like it should be real simple. I wanted to ask him, but what is love to us? Like, because most of us don't even know or have a clue about what love is. And of course, 1 Corinthians 13, you will learn, it's patience, it's kindness, it's all of these things, which most of us don't practice every day, or else we would. But that is at the crux of it. And it's hard to even, because it feels so hokey. So I posted a video today on YouTube about Black love, because we had a conversation about that. And I felt like I didn't want to post trauma today. I wanted to post something that was loving. But it's hard. And it's hard to love in a space where there's so much hate. I'm angry a lot. Like, I want to shake the crap out of people. I want to slap the spit out of a lot of people's mouths, proverbially, of course, not physically on these airways, but in my mind, yes, I want to do all of those things, because it's like, it doesn't seem hard to just be at peace with one another, but it is hard. And I want the people who are fomenting this discourse, I want them to stop, and I want them to be voted out, to go away, to not be able to do harm. But here we are.
But Karen, part of, not to promote my show again, but
please promote it.
No, but let me tell you why. Because part of what you talked about was what I'm going to call the shadow part of you. And what I said to you is that if more people, because you just did it just here, that's why I'm bringing the interview up with you. You just said, I want to slap the, proverbial spit out of, people. And you said, not literally just, okay, what would it take for some of the politicians and pastors and rabbis and whoever else is out there? What would it take for those people to own the shadow part of them? Because part of what we see acting itself out is this oh so goodness, oh so noble, oh so politically and spiritually correct, that their shadow is running rampant, harming people, but they have no awareness of it. And this is why I said to you when we did the interview, what a powerful example you are to the millions of people who listen to you, who watch you, who follow you, because you're unafraid of what it means to be a whole human being. Just to remind you that whole human beings, WHOLE, have holes, HOLES, which is a holy, HOLY, journey.
Wow.
And and we don't have people. These politicians they're praying. Where's the part of them that wants to rip somebody's head off and then to say, I'm not going to do it, but I feel it? We have so few examples of real people. And I said to you that we can't manage our triggers. And I don't even like using that word because of the gun violence, but we can't manage the things that stir us, that torment us, if we deny them. So if I can't admit that I could be a bad person or do a bad thing or have the capability of violent urges, then that shadow part of me, guess what? It runs my life and it impacts the lives of other people.
Well, y'all are going to have to listen to it. I'm uncomfortable right now. The Dr. Robin Show, to tune in Sunday. 11 a.m.
11 a.m. in the East.
11 a.m. Eastern on 126 this Sunday. Now, little levity, Walmart decided that they were going to put out a Juneteenth ice cream and got their whole ass, HOLE, asses handed to them. Their whole asses handed to them. And there were so many questions raised, like, do you have the trademark to Juneteenth? Like, what? So it's red velvet. The flavor, look, swirled cheesecake flavor. It's sold. It was selling it under its Great Value brand, which was problematic in and of itself. Red, black, and green. They had African colors on the packaging. The messages on the packaging: share and celebrate African American culture, emancipation, and enduring hope through your ice cream. No, Walmart, come on now. The backlash was so great that they had to issue an apology. And they did that today. They apologized for their ice cream.
But what did they apologize for?
For getting their whole asses handed to. So I was wondering, like, how does this happen? All right, so at corporate, I'm imagining that there was a Black person in the room, because I can't imagine Walmart thinking they could put a Juneteenth ice cream out without running it by some Black people, right? At Walmart, I'm imagining, and probably the Black people were like, okay, yeah, red velvet. And so this is the other thing. Message to any Black person who's in that room, in a room in corporate America: you're not doing your company a service by being quiet and shaking your head yes when they bring what inherently is some nonsense. You're not going to get in trouble. I feel like whoever allowed this to happen, who was Black in the room, should be fired on the spot, because you exposed Walmart.
Don't give them no excuse to go firing Black people and say it was their fault. No.
Okay. All right.
Black people knew they read the room. They read the room and they were like, this is going to pass whether I say so or not.
That's what you think happened?
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
Okay. All right. Well, somebody should be fired.
What we're talking about is, Karen, they were afraid that their voice and vote actually aren't really welcomed around that boardroom table.
Okay, so then let's take it up, kick it up to the dumb white person that was like, yeah, this is or what if the Black person brought the idea to them? 866-801-825. I'm just trying to figure out how this happened and who said, yes, let's do a Juneteenth ice cream and it's gonna sell out like the patty pies, because that worked. See, the patty pie, the Black people, they love it. Woo, patty, they love that. So they're gonna love this ice cream. Now, what they should have done is make because there's a Black owned, because we had the Black owned ice cream. Smith, didn't we have a woman that has a Black owned ice cream? She's got like peach cobbler. I mean, that ice cream looked amazing. I was like, ooh, if I was in the area where I could eat ice cream right now, I'm lactose intolerant. Chef Liz Rogers was on the show. She's got a whole chain. Now, if they had Chef Liz, her Creamalicious red velvet, if Walmart sponsored her the way they did Patti LaBelle, that would make her a partner and then push it out on Juneteenth. See, Walmart, there you go. Sold out. I could even promote that. But yeah.
Well, you know what? It's not too late. We can start her for the Juneteenth right here.
Okay. All right, Smith, let's say Walmart, middle fingers to you, first of all. But let me just be clear. I was on record saying Juneteenth should not be a federal holiday. It's not their holiday anyway. This is about Black people. It's about our freedom. I don't know how it became a holiday. I don't know how Lift Every Voice and Sing became a national anthem that they sing at NFL games. I feel like it's all been co-opted. And as a result, we have allowed them to do that in lieu of reparations. Absolutely not. I feel like Juneteenth should not be a federal holiday, period. And if it is, only white people should be working. If y'all gonna do it right, that's how it should be.
Well, it wasn't for us anyway. They didn't make it a holiday for us.
Who's it a holiday for?
There's more of them that gonna get the day off than us. So
that's what I said. White people must go to work on Juneteenth. That's the only way this holiday works.
Well, I hate to throw this in also.
Oh, no,
like ice cream and food, and I also am concerned that look, I'm all for having some good ice cream. I'm all for having good food. But I'm not all for having amputations from diabetes that are higher in African-American communities. I'm not for the fact that we're talking about Black Lives Matter. Well, Black limbs also matter, but Black limbs are amputated more than white limbs. And so personally, I'm concerned about any institution that is promoting something that is going to give more Black and brown people diabetes, therefore diabetic complications. So I just need to say that.
Okay. For the record, Dr. Robin, I have not had any dairy in about 15 years. I don't play.
Oh, no,
around
I
with
know you're
it.
lactose
So,
intolerant, but I'm talking about all the
No, it's not
people-
about the lactose. It's about dairy's bad, period. So since we're Wellness Wednesday, and the sugar, white sugar in particular, white rice, white flour, white ideology, white supremacy, nationalism. It's all very dangerous right now. for
So
our health.
this is my thing. I got you two brains here. I want to talk about this. So for me, words are medicine. And the word supremacy is a very powerful word. It is a word that's good. So I don't know why we even ever say white supremacy anymore, because there's nothing supreme about this behavior.
I slipped. You know that. You know that that's my edict. I slipped when I said it, but it just flowed with the bars that I was spitting. So, but Tonya, you're absolutely correct. Words are powerful. They are. What is it, Dr. Smith? The tongue, life and death.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
So I say white savagery, because the things that we're talking about are, this white savagery. This is what we're seeing.
Okay. All right. And everybody agrees with both of you that somebody Black was in the room, but they were going to be dismissed or disregarded. But that's why we should probably, when we start do our day of absence, Walmart should be on that list, I think. But
I tell you, when I see shows with Black people in them and there's some racist stuff in it, like when I saw the show about Marion Sims doing the surgery they did a play about Marion Sims performing the surgery on Black women with no anesthesia. That was a play in New York. And all of them Black actors, didn't one of them scream? And I was like, how could you ever let a director have you be on a stage and not scream having surgery performed on you on stage? I was furious. I was furious.
So maybe some of us don't know better. This is what is called for in the script. Viola talks about that too. All of the plays that she studied at Juilliard and how she, it's like you do these plays and then something awakens you. We all have that Damascus moment where it's like, oh, this is racist, because we're so conditioned in racism, like anti-Blackness, that it's almost natural, right, to not question it. And so maybe that happened, Tonya, just saying. I'm not making an excuse.
If they told you were going to cut your arm, you would say, oh, I have to go, ouch. These women did surgery in silence. And I was like, that's a disservice to all the women who this was really done to.
Right. Who were
that you would act this.
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Robin, 866-801-8255. Because this happened yesterday. Where were you and what did you think? And I led off the show as I have too often, reading the names of all of the victims that we have. Some of them have not been identified yet. Parents and grandparents and relatives had to stand outside of the school for 10 hours to find out if their loved one had been murdered. Where were you and what did you think?
I actually was working and doing I had a meeting, and so I didn't know. And I was shocked that no one, I guess everyone didn't have their phones, we were in a meeting. So I was in a meeting, and when it was over, I found out, so I was at home, but I found out that there had been this mass shooting, murder in Texas. And I couldn't believe it. And it's interesting. I all of a sudden physically started feeling cold. It's a little chilly here. It had been really hot. and now it's beautiful here in the Philadelphia area. And I was going to go walking and go for a run. This is before I knew this. And I found myself disoriented. I mean, not like I didn't know my name, but like I didn't know my name. And of course I knew my name, but who am I and what world am I in is how I felt, that there are babies who have been, and we also need to understand this, that when this is not a revolver that killed these kids, and you guys may have already talked about this, but when an assault weapon, that's why assault weapons shouldn't be used for hunting. I mean, they said it explodes a deer. It explodes a child. And I heard former police commissioner Ramsey, who was the head of Philadelphia police and then in LA, he's here in Philly, a CNN correspondent. And he talked about not only the trauma for the parents and the kids who survived, but for the officers who will never, ever be able to not see what it is they were going to be bearing witness to in this crime scene, because what an assault weapon does to flesh. He said, you can't imagine it. And you can't imagine it doing that to children. So I heard that, and I eventually made myself go for a walk because I felt like I needed air. Like I needed air. I needed air. I needed air. I mean, and that way, like George Floyd, I can't breathe. I mean, I felt like I could not breathe, given that there had been another massacre. And this is what made it worse, that I knew that the political discourse was about to show up in grandeur. I mean, that the Republicans and the Democrats, that there was going to be this no kind of conversation and no real action. And that to me is what is unconscionable.
866-801-8255 is the number. Dr. Robbins here. We're going to take one call before we go to break. Looks like calling from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Is that the Dr. Michael Eric Dyson? Is that?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Hunter, how you doing there?
Is it?
Hey.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Hi. You were just driving around and first time caller, long time listener.
I mean, all the time, because I love Karen Hunter and I love what she does and I love what she represents. And I'm here with Sister Vanessa. We in Tulsa. I'm about to speak for the John Hope Franklin Center. And I was listening. I said, I got to call in today. I know you're talking about it. First of all, Dr. Robin, that very serious issue, what the AK-47 and other assault weapons do to the flesh and the trauma that it does to our collective unconscious in America. We know, as Steve Kerr, the basketball coach for the Golden State Warriors, called out Mitch McConnell and these other do-nothing senators and Congress people who will weep and cry, who issue statements like Ted Cruz did, like Greg Abbott did, the governor of Texas, and at the same time hypocritically undermine the capacity of people to challenge these laws. They think the Second Amendment is the second commandment, like it was given by Moses to speak to the nations down from God. But what I was calling in for is I wanted to register a dissenting opinion about the ice cream. I'm so mad I didn't get a chance to get the darn ice cream. I'm so upset I didn't get a chance to get the red velvet. Look, if the white folk had come out with Confederate cream, we'd be mad. Oh my God, they're coming out with some Confederate ice cream, Robert E. Lee brand. But when they come to the Negroes, look, I get the fact that you don't want to commoditize and commodify Black cultural production. I get that. And I get the fact that Black people say, look, these corporate Americans are undermining us by taking away from us the right and privilege to do so. I get all that. But if we're going to have Juneteenth, and I know, Ms. Hunter, that you were against having this as a holiday to begin with, but if you're going to have Juneteenth in the cycle of holidays in American society, then I think at that level, it doesn't harm or hurt us to be able to participate more fully and more broadly in that. Do you want the commercial or the product? Now, I still want reparations. I want the reorganization of the logic of American democracy, all that stuff. But at the same time, I think we can have some ice cream that celebrates what we do and who we are. Now, we should get paid off of it. I think
Well,
black
that's,
ice cream makers should
yes,
be
Michael,
involved,
that's what
but
I was
I
going to
don't think
say.
there's a notion.
I said, yeah, but that is what I was going to say. Where is the payment that goes into the communities that would be maximizing the
That would
purchase?
help. Right. That would be helpful. Look, did we ask them that? Did we ask them how much money are they going to give to the community? Could they have generated some cash that would have been good for African-American interests and jobs and educational prospects? That's what I'm saying. To me, Black Twitter, there ain't no such thing as Black Twitter. It's owned by a white billionaire. So stop tripping and thinking you Black Twitter and you out here doing something and calling Black people sellouts who disagree with you when you on a white billionaire's app calling Negroes sellouts when you're engaging in complicity in the very capitalist structure that you deny. So I think that there's a possibility that the ice cream could have been a good thing if it could have generated capital to help Black folk out. It can't automatically be seen as, oh my God, let's look at it empirically. Let's examine it and ask what the function and role of the stuff is and what it's going to do. Not just
I'm throwing a flag. I'm throwing a flag on the play. I know you got to go, but you got to come back as a you know, like why don't you co-host with me one day? Come on through.
I would love to do that. Love to do that.
Smith, make that happen because I'm throwing a flag because I know damn well you don't eat ice cream anymore. I done watched you lose weight. You full of crap right now, calling up with the BS.
Yes, I eat ice cream. Let me tell you one more thing before you hang up. I got a text. I ain't gonna name the person's name. I got a text from a Black person who said it was their former team that came up with it. So I know one Black
I knew it.
brain.
I knew that's what happened. I was like, I knew some Black people were some Walmart. I was like, okay, the Negro said it was all right. Let's put the ice cream out. Oh,
I ain't mad, but I'm saying why Negroes mad at the automatic thought of an ice cream? I don't even get that.
Come on.
I don't understand that. But I would love to co-host with the great Karen Hunter. I would love to do that.
Smith, you know what to do. All right, hold on. We already got your information, but hold on, Dr. Dyson.
Okay.
I was going to say, Dr. Dyson was he came through here.
Dyson, yeah.
Let me tell you, Dr. Robin, this happens all the time. People just be calling up, like they be in their car yelling. That's how Yala was like, I'm listening, I'm driving, and Yala Van Zandt's like, I'm listening, I'm on the phone. She called up like because she's a regular person.
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. This is the Karen Hunter show. It is nothing like it anywhere. People just gonna be calling up, driving around, just regular people who happen to be Michael Eric Dyson. And then he's wrong though about this, but it's all right though. We need to find out about the people who put the Walmart up to do it. Y'all set Walmart up. Maybe it was strategy. Maybe the Black people said, yes, let's set them up because they stupid. They don't know what's going to happen.
Or they set them up to get minimum wage and jobs.
What'd you say, Tonya?
I said set them up to get a $15 minimum wage and 40-hour work weeks and benefits and healthcare. Set them up for that, not with some ice cream.
Okay. Or maybe sometimes, maybe they set them up that they were going to get a kickback and an individual kickback for a small group of people is not what this liberation movement is about.
Okay, but Michael Eric Dyson wants his ice cream though. Dr. Robin just said, what about the diabetes?